Okay, next up, we'll go to Brendan Gulick, Buckeyes Now on SI.
Hey, Stud, kind of a two-part question here. One, what's the one thing that you really hope you can accomplish here over the last 2 weeks of spring practice, or is this just continued reps and building chemistry? And two, how do you think this group is, handling the quarterback battle that seems to be neck and neck right now?
I don't think they have a clue about the quarterback battle. I think they're so focused on trying to get better. You know, it's funny. I was just in the meeting writing this down. Of all the guys that we got that are here right now, there's 11 guys in my room that it's their first spring. 11 guys. And I just sat there. I was just talking to Jerry. I said, you think these guys are veterans and those things because they've been here, but they lost last spring. They lost last summer. They lost to camp. So they've lost a year of development. And here's 11 guys that I've got a certain expectation level about, which it's not going to change. It's going to stay there. But then I realized this is the first time that 11 of these dudes have gone through spring. So instead of getting ahead of myself, I'm just enjoying the fact that we've had 9 solid practices and we can go get some technique work and we can develop some toughness. Because until that foundation's built, you're not going to go on. You're not going to further and start talking about how we can do things and what you can do and those things until we build that foundation. And I've enjoyed it. I think they're buying in, but it's still 11 of those guys are still learning how to get this done, how to be mentally tough. Some are further along than others, but they're all developing through it. So that's going to be my focus till the end of this spring, is getting that foundation built in a lot of young guys, because the Thayers and the Knicks, they're coming along. They know how to do this. They know how this goes. They know what they need to work on to take them to an elite level. But it's those other 11 or 12 guys that need that foundation built, and that's what we're working on.
All right, let's go next to Doug Lesmerises, Cleveland.com.
Hey, Stud, when you have 2 veteran tackles like Thayer and NPF and a great young tackle prospect like Paris, what was your decision-making process like in deciding that it would be Paris as the guy who would work at guard this spring? And did you give any consideration to maybe moving one of those tackles inside?
I absolutely did. And the reason I didn't was, again, right now, and again, it could change. I don't think it's gonna, but it was to keep those 2 guys. They were 2 of the best tackles in the country last year. They proved it. They're growing. They can help those guys inside, and to have 2 guys on the edge, like those 2 guys that can protect those young quarterbacks, that was really what I thought was going to be the best for us. And Paris's ability, his athleticism, his quickness with him and Fryer, because you forget, Fryer's a fantastic tackle too. So's Dewan. There's 2 more tackles that are can really be good tackles in my opinion. But those 2 kids' ability to bend, their quickness, their agility, allowed them to go into that guard spot without changing the edge protection for our young quarterbacks. So that was really one of the major factors.
Thanks, Doug.
All righty, let's go next to Tony Gerdeman, Buckeye Scoop.
Greg, regarding Harry, you're looking for your best 5?
Yeah.
Safe to assume he's one of the best 5, and will he be in the mix at center in the preseason?
Absolutely. There's no question. I would assume he's going to be one of the best 5. But again, these young guys are getting the reps and getting the work. But when the preseason comes, Harry's going right back into that mix, whether it be at center or whether it be at guard. But you're right. We're working on the best 5, and I would assume he'd be one of them. But we'll see.
Thanks.
We'll go next to Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Stud, if I remember correctly, Harry didn't. He's one of those 11 who's going through technically his first full spring here. But if I remember correctly, you guys were doing FaceTime calls with him all throughout the spring and pretty much keeping him up to speed to the point that once he got here, he was good enough to be able to earn that number 2 center role. Donovan Jackson is also not here, and it's kind of a similar rated guy. Are you guys doing anything similar with him? And then also, when he gets here, can he start? Is he going to be in that mix?
Well, number 1, yes, we are doing the same things. He's been in our meetings through the spring. He's got the manual. He's got the things. We've talked about drill tapes. We've watched drill tapes. And yes, he's going to have the opportunity to come in there and be one of the 5 just like anybody else does.
All righty, we'll go next to Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
Hey, Greg, can you kind of give us an update on where DeJuan Jones stands right now and just what sort of role you expect from him this season?
He's really well. He's a little banged up right now, so I haven't had him for a couple of days here. But up until that point, he was really, really doing well. He was coming along. He's got his weight down to the best it's been in a long time. He's in good shape, and really was really playing well. So again, there's another guy that can allow you as he comes along and develops. And again, his first spring, as he continues to come along and he continues to develop. Number one, it gives you depth, but it also gives you an ability to play different guys at different places. So I was very pleased with how he was doing.
Do you expect him back?
Yes.
In the spring?
Yes.
All righty, next up, Bill Landis, The Athletic.
Hey, Stud. A couple years ago, I guess when Ryan really first took over, there seemed to be a pretty major emphasis on kind of restocking your room. Maybe, I don't know if improving the recruiting is the right way to put it or not, but just adding some more guys there and really building up that depth. And it seems like 2 years later, you've done that. And I know it's not complete and the job's never done, but just how do you feel about where your room is compared to where it was a couple of years ago?
Oh, I couldn't be more excited. I think you hit it on the head. Everything you said right there is correct. I know the state of the room, and you guys do too, what it was when I got here. For the first 2 years, I had 5 people. I stayed up at night because if somebody went down, I was like, oh boy, we better get the punt team ready. That was my feelings. And you're right, to have that depth back in the room now, and again, what you just said showed at Michigan State last year. We lose those guys the night before the game. We didn't lose those guys a week before the game. We lost those guys, and a couple of those COVID guys right away. And for those kids to jump in there and play like that against a defense like that, that's a testament to what we've done. And that to me, those kids were ready to go. They knew through the whole COVID thing at any minute, somebody was going to have to jump in there, but it wasn't tested and proven until that point. And when they jump in there, that gives all those guys in that room confidence that when my number's called, or how about if I just go challenge this guy? Thayer Mumford's pretty good, but how about if I go beat him out? And now that's in that room. So all the other guys now, when you go to practice, you better be at your best. Because if you're not, that guy's very well capable of doing the job as well. And that's what it should be. When you've got an offensive line room that has depth, and those things can happen and still instill confidence in everybody around them. So you're exactly right. That's a fact.
All righty, let's go next to Dave Biddle, 247.
Hey, Greg, can you delve into just how much Matt Jones improved maybe from 2019 to 2020? Was he your most improved guy? And just, are you surprised with where he's at this point?
You're right. He is one of the most improved. I would absolutely say that. I think, with some guys learning and getting themselves prepared is as much a mental thing as it is a physical thing. And Matt is a guy that's always had the physical tools. He is so strong. He's quick. But eventually it gets to the point where, you know what, I'm tired of not being a starter. And a little light goes off, or whatever you want to call it. I don't have a right word for it, but I'm sick and tired of watching. And all of a sudden the demeanor in everything that you do, the attention to detail and everything that you do, the toughness, carrying out a drill, that's what Matt's done. He's hit that point where, you know what, this is it. And he showed it that Michigan State game, and then he showed it the next 2 games that he played. So his turnaround has been amazing. And yeah, I would definitely say he's one of those, and he's carried it over to this spring. He's really doing well. He got sick and missed a day or two with a flu bug, but since then the kid has been a different guy, and I'm really excited about where he's going.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go next to Joey Kaufman from the Columbus Dispatch.
Greg, question about Nick Petit Frere. I guess, where do you see him being able to make the biggest jump or improvement? This will be his second full year as a starting.
The thing that, yeah, you're right. The thing that we're focusing on with Nick right now is his pad level. He's a tall guy, and for him to bend at times, it's a strain. So we've been working on his pad level and making him a more productive run blocker by getting him to bend. So we've worked a bunch of bending things. We've got his squat up, getting his legs more powerful so that he can become a more dominant run blocker. His pass blocking excelled. That was last year's focus, really, going into last season. Make him an elite pass protector. He's well on his way. His feet are done. He's doing those things there. But what we've got to do is we've got to make him an elite run blocker, not just a good run blocker. I would say that's where he was. He's got to become elite, and that's what we're focusing on now.
All righty, next up, Tim May from Leonard Monroe. Tim.
Thank you, Mike. Hey, Stud, by the way, what's it like to have a nickname Stud? That must be cool. But then past that, Thayer Munford, can you describe him in a nutshell of why you think he now is elite and how far has he come in that regard?
I can't tell you how far he's come. It's unbelievable. He realized, I think, the whole thing goes back to that back surgery. If you want to trace it all the way back in the chronology of the thing, is he hurt that back and he missed 8 months of lifting, of developing, of everything. And he came back that next season and he played pretty well, but he knew he wasn't playing at a level that he was proud of. Not only us, but a level that he thought he could play at. Coach, I'm so much better than that. Then he gets a year of training in the offseason. He's as strong as he's ever been. He's moving as quick as he's ever been at 320 pounds. And he's attention to detail and technique totally has changed. And I think at the end of the season, when we sat down and talked about it, obviously the degree was important, but more so is, Coach, I haven't peaked yet, man. I can be better than this. And I think he realized that part of the reason that he came back was to attain that level of, I'm not just really good, I'm the best. And he's got a chance. He's got a chance to be the best tackle in the country. If he wants to focus on it and pick up where he left off last year and do those things, he's got a chance to be the best. And that's really what he's chasing. He's chasing the fact that he wants to be elite. He wants to be a first rounder. He wants to be the best in the game. And I think that's what's driving him. And it's really, really good.
All right, next up, Jeremy Birmingham, Leonard Monroe.
Hey, Greg, with 11 guys that have never taken a spring snap, with a bunch of other veterans returning, how are you able to work in Ben Chrisman and Zen Mahalski this winter and spring to make it valuable for them as opposed to just kind of standing by watching?
Brilliant question. And the problem, the first week, they missed the whole first week due to sickness. So that puts us a little bit more behind the 8 ball. But the thing about those guys is the time that we get in the spring, Jeremy, with individual drills and segmented pod circuits against the defensive line, that's where they have to excel. And that's where they're getting most of their work right now. And the good thing is, Coach Day, we'll always rotate 3 groups in a team period to get them reps. It's less than the other guys, there's no doubt. But like you said, that's the development of those young kids in the drill situation. When we have time in individual, that's where they're getting a ton of their work right now, because their foundation obviously is behind those guys. To take a guy like that and throw him out in the team period and say, hey, here, go run all these plays that we have, block all these protections, their mind's swimming. So to put them in that situation is not productive. The foundation of technique and how to be tough and how to use your hands to block, that's where I am with those guys. And the good thing is, in the springtime, we get the majority of time to do that with those guys.
All right, we'll do 2 more. First one to Patrick Murphy, 247. Patrick.
Hey, Greg, you talked about building that depth, but how big has versatility been in doing that? It seemed like last year you were able to put guys at different spots and not miss a beat. How important has their versatility been?
I can't tell you how important, because there's a lot of times that you'll go somewhere where, and this guy's a backup and that guy's a backup, this guy's that backup, meaning there's not a lot of versatility. But the fact that, like, you go back to having athletic guys and recruiting athletic guys that can play multiple positions. The Harry Millers, go back to Michael Jordan, go back to all the guys that have played multiple spots, the ability to still get your best 5. And if a guy goes down, who's the best 6? It might be a tackle that has to go to guard. It might be a backup guard that has to go to tackle if those guys aren't developed. So the ability to mix and match those guys because of, number 1, their athleticism and the ability to play both those positions. And number 2, what is their knowledge? Do they have a tremendous knowledge of both those spots, and can they handle going on the edge, or could they handle coming inside? And the fact that we have guys that are, I got a smart room. I got smart guys. They study so much, their attention to detail, especially for the young guys that are in there asking questions all the time and wanting to learn. They want to learn everything. And when you have guys that are like that, you can move those guys around and still come up with a cohesive unit, even if you have a couple injuries.
All right, and we'll wrap Coach Stud up today with Spencer Holbrook from Leonard Monroe.
Hey, Greg, what do you like most about Josh or about Luke Whippler, and what have you seen out of him that makes you think he can take another step forward?
I'll tell you, he was I'm not, he's a tough Jersey guy. First of all, I love that about him. He's rugged. But the second of all, I'll tell you a story. The national championship game ends and those kids had a chance to go home. And I'm home the next day and Luke calls me and he's in the indoor and he's filming drills and sending them to me. It's not 24 hours since the game ended. And he's in the Woody doing drills, filming a drill and saying, Coach, take a look at this and critique me, man. Because I want to work on this. And that's what I love. And that kid stayed here the entire time. Most guys went home for 2 weeks and saw their families, and I'm good, that's fine. This kid's in here doing that every single day. That's how important it is to him. And I sat in here and watched drills of him every day, and we watched film on Zoom, and we did things. I'm like, a guy that cares that much and is that dedicated and has the tools. He's got quickness. He's really good now at snapping the ball and stepping. He's got a rhythm now with the ability to do those things. And he studies the game. He knows every position. He knows all those things. And the time and effort that he puts into it is something I love. A guy that works that hard, you're going to be successful, period. And that's one of the things I love about the kid.
All righty, Coach. I think I speak for everyone. I say thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you again. Thank you.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.